शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषु तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजता दधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, verse 45. Their prayers of Sri Prahlad to Lord Nrsimhadev. He's been speaking about the situation of people in the material world, how they are suffering, and he is lamenting for them. Therefore he prayed to the Lord to liberate them from this bondage of Maya. He said that usually the sages, they are not interested in the welfare of these people, they are only for their own liberation. So he says that I do not want to go to spiritual world leaving all these people behind. So therefore he prayed that please uplift them from this samsara kupa, this well called material world. Now in the next verse he speaks about the futility of material pleasure, which is very shocking. यन्मैथुनादि गृहमेध सुखम हि तुच्छम कंडूयनेन करियोरिव दुःख दुःखम तृप्यन्ति नेह कृपणा बहु दुःख भाजः कंडूति वन्मनसिजं विषहेत धीरः. Says that people in this material world, they are absorbed in a very insignificant pleasure, tucham. Tucham is a very interesting word in Sanskrit. To use something which is completely worthless. So that is called tucham. So he says that what is the pleasure? Griha medhi sukham, the pleasure of people, especially in the married life. He says mathunadi, sexual pleasure. This is the key pleasure around which people rotate. So he says, what is this is most insignificant. He says it is just like if you have itch in your hand and you itch it. That's all. Karayoriva kanduyameva. Kara means hand. Sometimes itching is always there. In science they have done a lot of research. Why do we have itching? This is one of the things they are unable to figure out. There are certain things which science cannot answer. One of them is itching. So why there is itching? Everybody has it. Right? Sometimes here, sometimes there. So why there is an itch? So different theories. One theory is that people, of course, they always think that we used to live in the forest before, which is actually a fact. There's truth in it. That people were living in the forest and they were walking through these branches, bushes, trees. So they will touch, and because these things were poisonous, so the itching will happen, so that they protect themselves from this. And now this itching is continuing. When we don't live in the forest. That was one theory of itch. So he says that anyway, he says that this itching, what is the pleasure in itching?
Scratching.
Scratching. What is the pleasure in it? It's very pleasurable, right?
Relieves it.
So when you have this, then you feel happy by doing that. Especially if you get a disease, some scabies or something, then it's great pleasure to scratch. So that is the pleasure of sex. Nothing more than that. There is an itching sensation. And when you have it, you feel relieved. So material pleasure is like that. If you want to enjoy, first you have to suffer. No pain, no gain. Right? That's what they say. So there is no enjoyment without suffering. So more intense itching you feel, more pleasure you feel by itching, by scratching it. So that is the mathunadi grihamedi sukhamitucham kanduyanena kariyoriva dukkha dukkham. And then what is it? He does not say that it is a pleasure. He first calls it sukham and then he says dukkha dukkham. So actually it is suffering. It only looks like that. Because you suffer in the beginning. When there is desire for sex, you suffer. Like when there is itching sensation, so you suffer. And then after you have had it, then you suffer more. Because you can't have it all the time. You want to have it more, but more you cannot have. Like if you itch too much, then blood will come out, your skin will become red, then it will pain. So you can't go on scratching. So he says that is the material pleasure. So he says tripyanti neha kripana bahu dukkha bhaja. He says therefore these poor people in the material world, they are never satisfied. Nobody gets satisfied from sex life. So you keep on hankering for it and you're always empty. Feel it for a short period, then it is gone. Then you want more, then it is gone. Then you want more, it is gone. So he says, Bahu Dukkha Bhaja. And then the problem is that cannot have it yourself, you need a partner for that. And that's where all the problem begins. Because man and woman, they are completely incompatible. They are designed like that. So then you are in big trouble. Because man cannot understand the mind of a woman and vice versa. So man wants one thing, woman wants another thing. They are actually two poles. As they say, man from Mars, woman from Venus. So they are from two different planets. They are aliens. And they have to live together. So there is always a problem. One likes to dominate the other. And why would one allow that? So then, bahu dukkha bhajam. The outcome is great misery, great suffering. So he says, Kanduti one manusijam vishaheta dhira. He says, what is the solution? He says, just like if you have itching sensation and you wait for some time, then it goes away. You can experiment it. But when you feel like scratching, don't do it. Just wait. It goes away. So he says, therefore, one who is a dhira, one who has strong mind, should only tolerate. Don't get into it. That is his solution. But it's a difficult solution because there are no more dhiras around. There are a lot of adhiras. So this is Prahlad's recommendation. Modern recommendation is that you go for it. If you don't do it, you must be sick. Or you will fall sick. So this is in one simple stroke. He has wiped out the biggest pleasure of the material world. People's life rotates around sex, and without it they cannot live. They don't think that there is any life without it. Many people think like that. And Prahlad says that this is just plain suffering. Don't enter into it. Of course, the question is that how did he know this? He was only 5-year-old boy. Even those who are engaged in sex, they don't know this. People engaged in sex, they know nothing about it. Right? Just like you can turn on the light switch, you may not know anything how the light works, but still you can use it. So people engage in sex life without knowing actually what is it. No one ever thought the way Prahlad is thinking. So how is that this boy knew? People say that if you have not experienced it, how can you know it? So somebody can say that he is simply speaking, must have read it somewhere, or heard it. He does not know, therefore he is talking like this. And one can talk without experience. But if he would go through the experience, then he will not speak like this. And he will appreciate it. Right? That's what the opposite party will speak. That he is saying, anyway, he is a boy, he doesn't have this problem yet. When he grows up, then we will see how much he will tolerate it. So in Hindi there is a saying, Dilli ka laddu. Dilli ka laddu means the laddu from Delhi. And he says that one who eats it, he also suffers. One who does not eat, he also suffers. So those who eat, those who engage in sex life, they suffer, and those who don't have it, they are suffering because they think what these people are having, I don't have. So Prahlad says, better to avoid it, you are better situated. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Nanu ete stri sambhogadibhi sukhina eva na kripanas tatraha vyaditi. So in the previous verse, he was talking about material suffering, people suffering. So if someone says, why are you saying that they are suffering? They are actually enjoying. You ask people, how are you? Says, very good. How is life treating you? Oh, very nice. Are you happy? Yes. So no one says that I am suffering. Unless you really become close to somebody, then they say. So he says, why you say that they are suffering? They are enjoying sex life. And food, nice food. So much variety of food is available now. So much sex is available. Previously there were restrictions about sex life. Now it has become free. So why you are singing all this song of suffering? Many times Western people say that all this Indian philosophy is very pessimistic. All the time they are talking about suffering. So if you read Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, he says, Sarvam Dukhamaya Vivekina Parinam Tap Samskar. So he says that everything is suffering. Of course he says Vivekina, one who knows. One who does not know, ignorant people can feel anything. Somebody is intoxicated, he can say whatever he likes to say. But what is the value of that? So value is of person who is wise, who understands. So it says for a Viveki, for a person who is wise, who has understanding, for him if he sees, then he only sees these people are just suffering. Just like somebody is intoxicated and lying down on the street. Once I was in Lithuania. What is that city? Klaipėda? 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 Yeah. So I had a lecture there. When I came out, I saw one man, he was lying outside on the street. There was a bottle lying next to him and he has urinated in his pants. And he was happily lying there. So he will think he is happy. But a normal person thinks, just look at this fellow lying here on the street and wet with his own urine. So that is the pleasure people are enjoying. One who has wisdom, then he sees differently things. So therefore he says, well, they are happy. Then Prahlad says, no, they are not happy. This is not happiness. Because they have not tasted happiness. Problem is that to be a human being itself is a problem. That's why I said that animals, they were pitying human beings. That look at these human beings, how much they are suffering. It was better that they remained as animals. It says we told them don't become human beings. They did not listen to us. They evolved following Darwin. Now look at them. They have so much problems, fights, quarrel, terrorism, disease, and we are happy. And we want that they again come back, become animal. So human being is meant to suffer. And there are only two solutions for that. Either you again become animal, because animals are our forefathers. We have evolved from them. So they are saying, come back, bacha. Come be with us. Like father sees the child going away from the house, wandering here and there, and says, come on, be with me. So animals are telling human beings, come back. So many human beings listen to that. So they go down. And there are two ways to go down. One is drug, other is sex. Therefore these two things are very prominent in the society now, which is called advanced society. Drug and sex. Every advanced society, which are called advanced society, you will find two things very prominent. Number one, drug. Number two, sex. Because this is the way to make you animal back. After all, Darwin said it, we studied in the school. So forget about the human intelligence, wisdom, discrimination, become animal again. So you take drug and forget who you are, because animal means ignorant. And sex is another one which makes you ignorant of yourself. And the other solution is that you transcend and become a superhuman, become a yogi. If you remain in between, then you will be crushed. चलती चाकी देख के दिया कबीरा रोए, दो पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचा न कोई. Kabir says that Kabira, he sees in the olden days they used to have this mill for grinding wheat. So there are two stone pieces and you move that. So when he saw this, he was crying. Says everybody is getting crushed. Those who are in the middle, they get crushed. So either you get out of it or you stick to the inside periphery. If you are in the center, around, then you get crushed. So if you remain only human being, then you are suffer. You only suffer. Therefore Bhagavatam also says that the only two type of people who are happy in this world, yascha mood tamaloke, yascha buddhe paramgata. It says either one who is completely foolish, moodha, moodutama actually, the greatest fool. So either he is happy because he is like an animal, doesn't worry about anything. Or yascha buddhe paramgata, those who have transcended mind. Dove purusho edte loke. There are only two people who are happy, either those who are completely like animal or those who are transcendental. If you are in between, you get crushed. So previously people were trying to be yogis. That was considered as advancement. So if you see at least Vedic civilization, the whole system, whole Varnashrama system, now everybody criticizes it. And that's why they criticize it, because they cannot understand. Now they want to be animals, so how can they understand somebody who was trying to escape from being just a human being and become a superhuman? They cannot understand it. So they think, oh, these people were very cruel, they were suppressing, they were doing all these kind of things, they were crazy, worshipping all these stones, rivers, mountains. They were aborigines. So that it is beyond their mind. If you are too much drugged, too much after sex, you cannot understand something beyond. So they have no ability to understand it. But because they consider themselves as advanced now, because they can have more sex and they can take drugs freely, in some countries you are allowed now to carry certain amount of drug. It's legal. So you think you are advanced, and then you can criticize those who are actually advanced, because you are in majority. Now it is a democracy. So if everybody votes for a fool, then he becomes the leader. Then obviously such people are in minority, and in majority, you cannot stand in front of the majority. They will thrash you. So this is what is happening. So if someone speaks like this, they will hang him, as they did to Jesus Christ. Because the majority was against him. Although he was right, but majority was against it. So this will always be a minority. Only in India it was majority once upon a time. Everybody was a yogi. Therefore people like Hiranyakashipu, they got thrashed. Now it is the other way around. All over the world. India also lost it. So now if you speak something like this, they will say, this is stupid. All these shastras are useless. What they are talking, they are old now, throw them away. Because it's impossible to understand what is being said. You try to tell this to a common person here, outside, they will laugh at you. Go to some college, university and speak that sex is like an itching of hands and so on. Are you crazy? Are you coming from some forest? Are you living in a cave somewhere? So karayo kanduyanena sangharshanenaiva. So he says, just scratching the hands, dukkham anu dukkham yatra. So that itself is a suffering. That's why you want to get rid of it. Right? Why do you scratch? Because you suffer. Otherwise, what is the need? So sex is also like that, suffering. Anu dukkham, and then more suffering comes after that. Tattarhi dukkhattvadeva tato nirvidya muccheran tatraha kripana. So he says, only when they will understand and they will become nirveda, means they will become renounced, they will become distressed with it, then they can give it up. As long as they think that this is happiness, they will not, why would they give it up? It's only when they will be distressed, then he says, Muccheran tatraha kripana. So he says, actually they will not, because they are kripanas. So kripana, he defines here as a kamuka. Kamuka means lusty. So lusty person can never understand this. It's impossible. This will never enter into the head of a lusty person. That sex is just an itching. So bahu dukkha bhajo api, that they will take great trouble. So we see this many times. People, they rape somebody and then they suffer for years because they get caught, there is a court case, they are put in prison, bad name in the society, nobody wants to have any relationship with these people. How much he or she enjoyed? So much trouble. So this is called bahu dukkha bhaj. That for a flickering pleasure, so much suffering. But this is the craziness. Dukkha rupe api na tripyanti. And even after suffering, they are not satisfied, then they do it again. So sometimes they are saying, make the law more strict against rape. That's not going to stop it. No matter how much strict law you make, because people cannot control their senses. So when there is lust in the mind, the person becomes crazy. Sangat sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammoha. Person is sammoha. Sammoha is like hypnotized. So person becomes hypnotized by lust. It's like a person who is hypnotized and you tell that it's very hot here. So he will take away all his clothes. He will start sweating. Because that's what hypnosis is. So sex desire also hypnotizes the mind. One cannot see the reality. One cannot see the suffering. But that's what hypnosis is. So therefore he says this karpana is the kamuka and bahudukha bhajopi, although there is so much suffering involved in it, dukha rupe api natripyanti. So law is not going to help. You have to educate people, they have to make them understand what is reality. But if you go on intoxicating them with more and more videos and news and all those programs, then there is no end to it. So all types of things have been tried. There is no solution. People think that where sex is freely available, there is no restriction, there are no rapes. There are rapes there also. As I said, in America 20%. So the most advanced country, supposedly, most free. They call it land of freedom. Alamiti na manyate. So he says that no one ever says that this is enough now, I don't need any more. It's like you eat food and you say, okay, enough. So no one feels satisfied with it. It actually makes you more empty, you want more of it. So kanduti vat kandutau ityartha. So he said it's like if you have a disease, itching disease, then you go on itching, there is no end, more and more. Sometimes you get this, what is they called, athlete's foot. Then there is a very itching in between the toes of the feet. Anybody experience that? No? You should experience this. When we were working in Gosala, we used to get this. And then it's such a intense itching. And you go on scratching it, you want to scratch more, it can start bleeding. So he says like that. Nanu kaschit tato nirvinno api drishyate. I remember Maharaj had this, and after the Goseva I used to massage and give, and then Maharaj said, this is Brahma Sukh. This is Brahma Sukh. So nanu kaschit tato nirvinno api drishyate. It says that sometimes we feel that people lose interest in it, they become dispassionate. Satyam tvat prasadat dhira eva manusijam kaman duksvarupam vishate. He said, yes, it is possible if somebody has your grace, the grace of Lord Nrsimhadev, Prabhupada speaking, then he says that he can tolerate it. Because lust in Sanskrit is called manasija. Manasija, manas means mind and manasija means born in the mind. Manasija or manoja, I have heard this word manoj. Many people in India have this name. So this lust actually is not so much physical, it is in the mind. Physical maybe 10%, 90% in the mind. And now, because the whole program of the society is to make you lusty, whether it is food or lifestyle or what you read or what you see, so it's all going in the mind. And therefore there is so much problem. Previously it was not so much problem because mind was not polluted like this. So when the mind becomes polluted and food is also polluted, then it's impossible to tolerate it. So then you become hypnotized by it. And then you use your intelligence only to engage in it and suffer. When I was teaching in Rutgers, I used to stay with Purushottam's house. So one day I watched one program. I forget the name. So the program is that they do some research with married couples and find out where the man is going and having an affair with some other woman. And they do this research without him knowing it. And then they call these couples separately. And then they tell this to the wife, that look, he is doing this. All kinds of programs in America. So the wife comes and then this guy is telling him, and then they bring the husband and the wife starts beating him on the stage. And then they have a big guy who tries to separate them. He gets the beating also. So, and why are you doing this? And then this guy is telling, of course, he tries to come up with some excuse. It's not true. And then they bring the girl also. He's having an affair. And then these two women start fighting and pulling each other's hair. So this is a very interesting program. Of course they get paid for it. So they don't mind doing it. But this is what actually goes on in the society. Nobody is satisfied with it. So he says only some people who can get your grace, tvat prasada dhira eva mansijam kama dukh swarupam eva vishahate. So he can tolerate this and not others. Because this is such a powerful disease, most powerful disturbance for the mind. So then in the next it says Mauna Vrata Shuta Tapodhyana Dharma Vyakhya Raho Jita Samadhaya Apavargya Praya Param Purushate Tvajitendriyanam Varta Bhavanti Utanavatvratu Dambhikanam. So he says that there are various processes to control mind. First one, he lists about 12 of them. Silence. Some people do Mauna Vrata. They keep silence. Then Vrata, fasting. So if you don't eat, body becomes weak. Senses become weak. Mind also becomes weak. And Tapa, Shruta, study, scriptural study. Tapasya, austerity, standing on one leg. One sadhu stands there in the bank of Yamuna. You've seen it? No? But he only stands when there is crowd. You saw him? Now he is not standing. Because the crowd is gone. So Adhyan, study Swadharma, following your own dharma, Vyakhya, scriptural explanation, Raha, living in a lonely place, Japa, chanting, Samadhi, meditation. So he says these are various types of processes people follow to become free from material desires, free from attachment to the body, free from sex desire. So he says, Praya param purushute tu ajitendriyanam varta bhavanti. He says usually for people who do not have control over the senses, these things only become a business. Varta. As I saw this man, this sadhu standing on one leg. It's actually a business. That's why he does it when there are people. So they make some money with it. And Navatrutu Dambhikanam. But if they are hypocrites, then we don't even know whether even this business will work or not. But at least people should not know that you are a hypocrite. When they become impressed with you and they give you some money, but if they come to know that you are only making a show, actually you are not really standing on one leg, you stand only when we are there, then they are not impressed. So he says that usually people use these things just for material gain. That's why here in Vrindavan you see everywhere, whenever they do anything religious, they put all these big speakers. So what is the need for this? If you want to do kirtan, do it. Why you have to put speakers? Because you have to make a show, so that let people know. So by that you get some name, and when you have name, then money, people come, when people come, then money comes. So, but sometimes some people get caught, because they say that we are doing bhajan, so we don't meet anybody. But inside, go and sleep. I remember one sadhu used to come and see Maharaj. He was always asking, doing some kind of anushthan. And then he himself was telling. He was quite openly telling Maharaj. He said that actually what I do is that I go inside my room and I tell everybody that I am in sadhana, nobody should disturb me. And even if some rich people come to see, I tell them, no, I will not see. Come after 10 days. Because then they become more impressed. So, but actually inside I go and I just sleep. He was telling himself. And then in the evening he comes out, so everybody thinks that whole day he's just doing his sadhana, chanting, meditation. So this is called dambha. So as long as one does not know it, then your business will prosper. But when people come to know, then business can fail. So this looks like was always there, because Prahlad is speaking about it. So he says that all these things, being in solitary place, chanting, keeping mauna, he says usually for those people who do not have control over senses, these things are just means to make money or get some honor, respect in the society. And of course people want to get honor so that they can get people coming to them, and people want some wealth. So this is the idea behind most of religious ceremonies, doing all these yajnas or part and stotras and kirtan. The idea is to attract people, to show, and then get money from them. But if one's hypocrisy is caught, then even Prahlad says, Navatra, it is not sure that it works. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Nanu Brahmananam tavan monadibhir moksha sadhanai svataiva siddhair moksho api svataiva siddhas tatrahe monaiti. So first Purva Paksha is raised that Brahmanas, they engage in this type of activities, Maunavrata, austerity, studies, Shastra, solitary place, chanting. So they will get Siddhi, they will get Moksha, they will become liberated. Right? So they don't have to suffer. And they don't need any help from me. So then he says, no, that's not true. He says, Hey Purusha, he is addressing the Lord as Purusha, so which means Antaryami, that you are in the heart of everybody. So, Tvam kim vigyapayami. He says, you know everything, what is there for me to tell. You know what these people are doing. So, ye maunadayo 10 apvarg hetava prasiddha. He says that these 10 things which are listed here They are supposed to bring liberation. They are known as means for achieving liberation. So he says, but Raha Vimukta Vasa, the word Raha here means to live in a solitary place. Tetu Prayashaha Ajitendriyanam Visha Bhogarthame. He said that usually people utilize them only for material enjoyment. So, Khadeshwari Baba, there is one ashram here, Khadeshwari. You remember? No?
Oh, the one opposite Lalita ashram.
Yes.
Oh,
You know how he started?
Yes, I remember him.
So he used to come and stand there. There was nothing there. There was just a tree. So on the tree he put two rope, tied to rope and one plank, wooden plank, the rope, and he will put his two arms there and he will stand. So he will stand whole day, he will stand. We saw his legs so thick because all the blood is flowing to the legs. And then he became very famous. People started coming and then they started giving money to him. So then he built a nice ashram. Then he got disciples. So then he was coming only when like Ekadashi. That day a lot of people are coming, then he will come and stand there in his yellow cloth on his head and he will stand. Other time he will watch television. Then he got disciples. So their disciples will stand, he is sit there.
Still alive?
I don't know. Maybe he is gone somewhere, who knows. But this is, at least this we saw happening. I remember standing, just a tree he was standing and then big ashram. So this is, what is it called? So he did some tapasya and he got the result. So it works. As Prahlad said, it's a good business. No investment. Tax free. So he says Vishya Bhogarthameva, that it is primarily for Vishya Bhog. Why? Because they are Ajitendriya. Their senses are not in control, they are doing it for sense pleasure only. They may be failure otherwise. The person has to go and work and not even educated. And how much can he make? It will be hard to maintain himself. But here it doesn't matter whether you are educated or not educated. Grow beard, and for growing beard you don't have to do anything, it's growing anyway. Even when you sleep it grows. So all you have to do is don't cut it. It will keep on growing. And put tilak and stand. And people think you are a sadhu. And they come and give you money. So, nice business. So, tan vikrinitam varta jivanupaya. So, they sell this. They are selling. This is their product. So, like you do business, you buy some vegetables from farmers, then you bring them in the market, you sell, you make money. So, their product is their tapasya. Their sadhana is their product. And therefore they have to show it to people. If they do it privately, then no one is buying it. Nobody is interested. So more people see it, then some people will buy it. Buying means they will come and become impressed and pay. Because they think that by doing this they are going to get some benefit. So that is the meaning of selling and buying. It's a business. Because business means I sell something and you give me money. So I sell my sadhana. And for that I have to come in contact with many people. That's why they come on the parikrama marg. That's where the people are. They could do it 50 feet or 100 feet away, then there is no business. Because nobody is seeing it there. So that's what he's saying, that The Vikrinitam Varta Jivanupaya, that they are selling it. And Dambhikanam tu Varta api bhavanti neva. He says, but if their hypocrisy is caught, of course they are hypocrites, but if it is caught, then it is not even certain that they will get something or not. But people realize, as long as people do not come to know, of course, even if they come to know, some people will still follow you because you can always explain. If you have the good power to explain and talk, and especially if you have people around you who can give an interpretation why you are doing it, then still it will continue. Unless someone does something really horrible. So last year somebody was caught with that. I was reading, I was not even here. Some Bhagavad speaker with the CDs and all that. You know it?
He wasn't speaking.
Now he's doing it Bhagavad Sapta again. He's back. People anyway have short memory. This is one benefit of Kali Yuga. Manda sumanda matiyo. Manda bhagya upadurata. In Kali Yuga people have short memory, so they forget quickly. Something comes in the news for a few days, everybody talks about it, and they forget. So then you continue. So people take advantage, or you move to another place. The whole world does not know. Even if some people come to know, the world is big. Go to another place. But even if you don't go to another place, you can still continue there only. Because most people will forget.
What did he do? This Bhagavad?
He made some CDs of sex, like porno. And they were caught in the computer or something. So therefore he says, Bhavanti nava dambhasya aniyat phalatvat. So because hypocrisy does not have a fixed result. It is unpredictable what will happen once hypocrisy is revealed. So then some people may turn against you, some people may be for you, in your favor. So it continues like that. So I'll stop here if there is any question.
What does it mean that it's not that its result?
Means it is not that it is always successful. If you are hypocrite, then your business may not run very well. It may stop, or you may not do good.
People are not paying me. People will not pay or something.
Yes.
Raj Maharaj, how in so young life, age of 5, how can he explain all these great things? Maybe he's remembering his past life or what?
Yeah, he is an experienced person. He is wise. He was born wise. He knows. So once you understand the truth, then all these things become revealed to you. It's not very difficult.
And he told that any Vega on earth is an itching thing, like also for eating or sleep. That they say that this is also kind of itching sensation.
Itching is different. You can't say that itching, but it is an impulse.
Therefore, any Vega can be that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Those are impulses, but this sex desire is especially itch. specifically because it is related with the skin.
How it is related with the skin. And if it is not the skin, is in the mind.
Then it is not an itch. You can call it itch if you want to say. Itch means something which bothers you. It's not something you cannot go inside your brain and scratch. If you say it is an itch, all it means that it's something which is disturbing you. You need to attend to it.
Then how it can be possible to quit such a deep ingrained samskara for a conditioned person?
How it is possible?
How it may be possible? It seems impossible.
It seems impossible, but it is not impossible. Because this desire comes out of ignorance, and when we identify with the body, then we seek pleasure in the body. And food and sex are the greatest pleasures in the body. But if you understand and realize through sadhana, through bhakti, that you are actually servant of Lord, and your body, mind, senses are meant for service. And if you engage them in service, then you get a superior pleasure. So param drashtva nivartate. Rasopyas, rasvarjan, rasopyas, param drashtva. So you get a higher taste. Because this is not the only pleasure. And actually it is not even pleasure, as Prahlad is saying. It's only an illusion of pleasure. Really speaking, there is no pleasure. Because it's a suffering which you are trying to remove. It's a botheration. If there is no botheration in the mind, you don't have sex. Because your mind is bothering you, then you are basically, where is the pleasure? You are only removing the botheration. Just as in the case of itching. It's a disturbance. It's not a pleasure. But we never think it like that. That's what he's saying, that people don't think. If you analyze it, there is no pleasure. It's like there is a thorn in your foot and it is paining. So then I remove it. Then you feel happy. But is that happiness? It's not happiness.
It's happier than the problem.
You just got rid of the problem. So basically there is suffering. And when you get rid of the suffering, you think this is happiness. So that is the confusion. That is the viparyas.
That's what it seems impossible to fix.
Fix what?
Understanding that is not pleasure.
What is the problem with that?
That one never thinks like this. You just said.
Yeah, but now you can think. One does not think, but if you study and you hear, then you can think. One does not think oneself, because one's mind is already, thinking faculty already is involved in it. So there is a possibility to think. You can think when you are aloof from it. When the mind and intelligence themselves are involved in it, who is going to think? So people never think like that. But if you hear what Prahlad is saying, and with your sober mind, you think, then you can understand what is the difficulty.
Then also you said that, like yesterday you said that crowd and other things are also intoxication, not just taking the intoxicant, the drug. The drug is number one, number two is sex life. And then drug can be intake drug, or yesterday you said scroll also is kind of intoxication. In fact, it releases some chemicals in the brain and all this. Then I also, another lecture heard you say that the desire for prestige is also sex life, which is worse even than the other thing, physical of the itching thing. Or is that an itching thing also, this aspiration for worship and recognition from the others means as sex life, as equal to sex life?
And they're all interrelated.
They are all interrelated. No. I understand what.
The root cause of all this is avidya. So
That's the
avidya,
explanation.
avidya comes asmita, that I am this body. And from that come all other things, then rag, dvesh, kam, krodha, sex, moha, lobha, everything are generated.
So let's say when practitioner abandons sex life in the body,